Hey everyone, my name is Jane and this is Aor.
And we are Imperial Age, and you are listening to Richard Metalfan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Bring you guys another episode of Richard Metal Fan Interviews, calling from Zoom, and I'm here with one third of the almighty Imperial Age. We got Aor and Jane. So, how you guys doing today?
One third. Is it 30% or 33?
Or 33.3333, so on. That's how it is on my calculator.
Yes, correct math. Well, we are not bad. What about you?
Not too bad. It's a good afternoon here in good old Georgia in the US of A. How is it over in good old London, England?
It's raining.
Yeah, it's kind of raining too where I'm at. Matt, I think we're getting a bit of the taste of the UK weather.
I thought it was actually snowing in the United States these days, no?
Now, there was actually like some ice. We had an ice storm about a month or so ago, but it's pretty much gone away. Now it's just like cold and rainy as shit.
Hmm.
You can take more in from us because we have too much.
No, no, no. Today in the morning, we had 20 minutes of sun
Oh wow, that's crazy.
before it
Yeah.
started raining.
Yeah, but it's great to be able to have you guys on. So, kind of what I want to talk about is sort of like talk about like you guys' art journeys as art as musicians, and also sort of like talk about like the history of Imperial Age. So, I just want to dive right back into the beginning for both of you. Do you guys remember like the first time like each of you got into metal and what made you want to be a vocalist? So, who wants to go first?
Well, since it's all started with her, I'll let her do it.
It's not fair.
I just need to sip coffee.
Um, so basically, my story is I don't know, usually how musicians become musicians, they go to musical school because their parents put them there, and then they learn music, and so then they continue. So I started to do music only after school, and I was very far from metal music actually. Before that, I was a huge Eminem fan at
Hey,
school.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I still think that he's a genius, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, he's one of the few rappers that never sucked. Like I still love Mom Spaghetti and all that stuff.
Yeah. So the point when I'm turned to metal music, it was I think I stumbled across the him live music video. It was something like them performing somewhere, and I just fell in love with the band, and of course with the Ville Valo, of course. So and then it began, and I started to listen to more bands, but I wasn't doing any music myself. So only after this guy started the band, I started to learn music at approach. And so gradually I went through just playing keyboards, and I was playing basically just my chords, just like 10 chords which I needed to play in the song. And then gradually switched to vocals, and I still have lessons because
Yeah,
it's like endless process.
awesome. What about you, Aor?
Well, I'm the kind of guy who was made to do music by his parents since the age of 5. I was a very bad student. I explored all the cupboards in the vicinity, trying to hide from my piano teachers. Was dropping bags with water from the 12th floor when the poor tutor was on the approach, and stuff like that. Yeah. Um, and I always hated, like, the first episode I remember, I think I was like 5 years old, and it was one of the first piano lessons. And she comes, this poor lady, mid-aged, and like the Soviet type. It was in Russia. It was, and she's like, okay, now we're gonna do something. And I'm like, and I'm just a small 5-year-old kid, and I say, why the heck should we play other people's songs? Let's write our own.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? But since she was paid by the hour, she didn't have a choice. So we wrote a song. It was about,
And we're still playing them.
and we're still playing them. Yes, it was about some bird in some forest, some ridiculous tune. But I still consider that my first song. Yeah. And yeah, and we met at high school, and I was actually listening to punk rock and stuff like that. So actually, she turned me into metal.
Awesome. So, what were you guys' like bands before you started up Imperial Age? Because I know Aor, you had Revelance, so I'm not sure about Jane as well. Jane,
Well,
so
Imperial Age is kind of the continuation of that. So, yeah, Jane joined when Imperial Age began. So,
But I witnessed everything that happened with Revelance because I was hanging out with the guys and watching them consuming a lot of beer instead of rehearsing.
yeah.
You know, they were rehearsing just like any other bands, like Monday and Wednesday every week from 5 to 7. So they were, of course, mostly drinking.
So nobody knew how to play, nobody knew how to sing. It was just, like the regular teenagers hanging out. So instead of trying to do something professional, and well, most bands are like that, and the results were corresponding,
ni- nice. And so
i.e., no results.
yeah.
But
So
a lot of remembrances, a lot of hangovers, and
We
in,
have a lot of funny footage.
a lot of funny footage and a lot of jokes to tell. Yeah.
cool. And so the band formed in Russia. Russia. So what's like the metal scene in Russia? Because the only bands I could think besides you guys are also Arcona and Slaughter to Prevail. So what is sort of like the whole like scene over there?
Well, Slaughter to Prevail and Arcona are also yours truly are usually what is known outside Russia. Inside Russia, it's very different, and obviously it was very different before the war than it is now. So basically, if we're talking about like 2000s, early 2010s, it was amazing. So
It was
basically,
just the same as in any other countries.
no, it was better than in most of Europe. Like here in London, for example, you have everybody playing all the time. So if I don't know how it is in the United States in Georgia, but probably in New York and Los Angeles it's the same thing, right? So name a band, it's gonna play at some point. It either played in the past 6 months or will play in the next 6 months. That's how it is in London. It used to be almost like that in Moscow back in the days. So the international scene was absolutely huge. Everybody came, like every single major tour had Moscow and St. Petersburg in it. Local bands, well, local bands are the same everywhere. So there were the only maybe specific about Russia was that there was always this kind of conflict whether you should sing in Russian or in English. Like for obvious reasons, we don't have it in our countries here, right? Neither in the UK nor in America because it's English. For some reason, they don't have this problem in Europe as well, but in Russia, it's like it's a very specific point, and basically all the bands they were always and still are divided according to this divide, and it this thing determines your relevance on the local scene because if you wanted to be relevant inside the country, you had to sing in Russian. However, that would close doors completely outside the ex-USSR and the other way around.
Yeah, because
So,
it's like English is like a universal language.
Yeah.
yes, but not in Russia. In Russia, it's like, we have our own language. Why are you singing in their language? Like, what the hell, So, this is what happened to us. The moment we emerged as Imperial Age, we immediately got more attention outside the country than inside the country. Now, that was not the case for Arcona, who sing in Russian and about Russia. And for Slaughter to Prevail, they try to balance it. So there, Jack, he's English, right? So
Yeah.
the composer, but Alex, he's Russian, and they make a lot of marketing around this Russianness. With us, it was immediately only West and only English language. So that's how it is. What's going on there now after the war began? I don't know because we haven't been there. But from what I hear, all the Western bands, except a few, I don't know why they're doing that, a few bands tour there, most don't. Um, and basically, people just listen to whatever
Or they travel to
performs. Yeah,
Kazakhstan
yeah,
and nearby countries to
or
see
those
them.
who
Yeah.
can afford it go to Kazakhstan or Armenia or countries like that. So yeah, that's more or less your overview.
All right. And then tell me about like starting up Imperial Age because the band formed in 2012. So how did like the idea to form kind of like a epic kind of symphonic metal band come to be?
Well, I guess that was just what we were mostly listening at that time. So, for example, right now we are developing and we are evolving our sound. So I wouldn't call it strictly symphonic metal anymore or power metal anymore. Uh, Especially the new stuff that we are writing, it's a mixture of everything. I know everybody's banding genres these days. Everybody's trying to.
Yeah, it's like naming like a species of plants. It's like there's like the Blackened symphonic epic. It's
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
gets ridiculous sometimes.
Personally, I think that this, very small subdivisions to subgenres, it sometimes makes more harm than help to divide the bands, because when you are being called, I don't know, symphonic metal, only
Yeah,
that all the time,
it's a very narrow
it
hole in which
narrows.
they're trying to squeeze you in. You know?
Yeah, it also can confuse the listeners, because if I imagine myself as a listener, like I want to find some new music to listen to, I will never search like I want to listen specifically to female fronted symphonic metal. No, because I know that I can miss out a lot of cool bands which can be, put in other basket. So both for me as a listener and as a musician, I see it more like a, harmful thing, because I understand that some division to genres, it is necessary. I don't know, there is hip hop, there is metal. That's fine. There is, I don't know, blues and jazz. So, but for me, that's more than enough to, to navigate through the music, because sometimes I get suggestions from Spotify in various genres. I don't want it to suggest me only, this small part of music, what's out there. I want to be able to listen to everything. And also as an artist, I want audience to be able to discover me through different genres.
Cool. And but tell me about making that first album, Turn the Sun Off. I think it's a really great debut. One of the most underrated debut albums of all time. So what was sort of like the whole mind frame making like the debut full-length Imperial Age album?
Just wanted to make something as huge as possible. Seriously. I mean, sonically, in this case.
Yeah. And when the album first came out, did you start like touring just around like Russia and stuff? Like what was sort of like the whole like playing the shows around that whole album like?
Listen, to be honest, I was wondering about that question until our first international tour, which happened in 2016. After that tour, I can tell you honestly, at least back then, there was no real difference. I mean, the venues are the same. The metalheads, luckily, are more or less all the same. So, in a good sense. So, it's just, you know, the same as it would be, I don't know, in Poland or in Britain or in Spain. It really isn't that, or at least back then it wasn't that much different. At least with Russia, you need to understand that Russia is not homogeneous. So if I'm saying that word correctly,
Yeah, you're doing
because
good.
because you have Moscow and you have the rest of the country. Well, you also have St. Petersburg, and then you have the rest of the country. So the metal scene mostly existed only in these two cities, you know. So of course there are metalheads everywhere, right? Maybe in Yekaterinburg as well. But like if you look at the tours, they all go Moscow, St. Petersburg. That's it, you know. So it's somewhat similar to France. Like you know, France is mostly Paris. It's very much centralized around. For example, in Germany, it's all over the place always, but in France, it's almost always it's Paris, and that's it. So that's the thing. So yeah, we just supported the international bands which came
Yeah,
to
I think
play.
back then we thought that it was the best,
We thought that that it works. Yeah.
yeah, that that it is the best, strategy to promote the band. So we did a number of support shows for international bands, and we have some, memories from that time. But then we got our first European tour, and starting from that,
No, actually, so supporting was actually a success when we met Theria.
yeah.
That was our last support show
It was
in
also
Russia.
it was very beneficial to, at least for me, to get some, live experience, because I've never, like before Imperial Age, I've never been on stage as an artist. I've never performed, and first years of the band for me, they were really stressful, and performing every show was a huge stress for me. So I think it was like a good experience performing kind of at home, but with the international bands. So that was a necessary part.
Yeah. And what was it like playing in front of like those different countries for the first time? Like what was, did you ever notice like a different like reaction depending on like the different countries that you play in?
Well, the sensation was cool.
Yeah.
Especially there is nothing like the first tour.
Yeah, maybe because it was our first
Yeah.
tour. Maybe because of that, like I have, very vague um, memories from any all of our tours.
I
Maybe
remember everything.
maybe something is wrong with my memory. I don't know. I just remember that this tour happened. So with the first tour, I remember that like it was cool. That's it. I just, from the very beginning, even in
A
the
very detailed memory.
Yeah. I think
even in
Aor is sort of the archivist.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So even in the Revelance times when I just hanged out with the guys, so I remember that I always, been fascinated with the backstage stuff, with like what happens backstage, like how it is organized, how the stage is set up, all the all the wires, not just drinking, no.
Yeah.
So on our first tour with Therion, I just enjoyed, basically the backstage part. No, not just the shows, but also the setup. Loading, unloading the huge cases, all that stuff. I still enjoy
Very
it.
enjoyable big cases.
Yes.
I remember the first time we played in the UK, that was on that tour, and that was Islington O2, the Academy. The lifts were broken, and we had to carry everything, the entire trailer, including what I call the dead man. It's this huge coffin with all the drum hardware, which weighs like, I don't know, 200 kilos,
But it's a good
like a
workout.
small car.
Yeah, it's a
We
good thing.
had, of course, obviously being hungover, we had to lift all that stuff 3 floors up.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then down. That was quite a workout. And then at the end of the day, the dressing rooms, they are located in the basement. So one of the toilets, one of the tubes exploded, and everything was flooded with shit.
Oh
Here,
wow.
here is your glorious backstage, and I remember like stuff floating there.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I know in between like Turn the Sun Off and The Legacy of Atlantis, you also did sort of the two versions of the Warrior Race CP. Was that just something to like hold fans over before you started up The Legacy of Atlantis?
Yeah, that was just us trying to find ourselves in a dark room.
How poetic.
Yeah. That's great. Great. And I
Man,
noticed like you also
you
did
were
like some orchestral and re-recorded versions of some of those old songs. So what kind of inspired that?
the necessity to have more tracks.
Well, just right there.
I'm just being honest.
Hey, it's honesty is a policy, man.
Like
Yeah.
if you have 1.5 albums and you're trying to sell CD, well, you need more
Mm.
tracks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, be like, "Hey kids, got some more shit right there."
Yeah, well, we don't have this problem now. We're actually we've just slashed like half of our discography, but back then that was a problem.
Nice. But then going into the second album, The Legacy of Atlantis, I love that album because usually with the debut album, you have like your entire life to write, and there's a lot of hype with that first album. When it came
That
to
is very
making
true.
the when it came to making the Legacy of Atlantis, you felt like any pressure to follow up Turn the Sun Off?
Yeah, just a little bit. The situation was that we were due to go on our second, no, by that time it was the third
Third, yeah.
European tour, also with Arion, but we were the mid-act now, and it was a 56 concert tour in the beginning of 2018. And kind of in September 2017, I was just sitting there thinking, it would be an actually good idea to have a new album to go with the tour. And we were like, So we have like maybe 4 months to do it. So I remember at some point in December 2017, I just went, okay, fuck it. Like, cancelled everything and just blitz wrote it. And recorded it, mixed, mastered it, printed the CDs to take on tour all in a matter of 4 months. That was quite a lot of stress.
Yeah. Yeah. But then you toured for a little bit. I know you also did like the live albums from 2019 and 20, but then the pandemic hit, and I know it really kind of like fucked up the music industry and stuff. But I know you also did like some lockdown like live stream concerts and stuff. So how hard was it during that time? Because I know a lot of bands struggled during that whole lockdown era.
For us, to be honest,
That was a blessing.
yeah, yeah, because like we've noticed that there are a lot of things, basically almost all of them, which we do differently from others, and it also goes to how we operate. So we knew, like, we are very determined people, the two of us. So we knew that if we are to treat our music career seriously, that we should understand that we will be touring, we will be going on tour, we will be absent for like a few months, for many months, and it means that it kind of contradicts a normal day job. So we deliberately stood away from any day job. So we before the time when bands started to bring enough money to live on, we worked, both of us, as a private tutors. So we had like a lot of students. He taught English, I taught biology, and like it was very easy to cancel all the lessons for a few months and go on tour. So we worked from home anyway. So when the COVID hit, we just continued to work from home anyway, and we were doing all the same things, and we started to be active on the social media and everywhere just before the COVID. So when it hit, we were already there on the platforms everywhere, and COVID just basically it shifted the attention of the audience to the online, but we were already there online, ready for them. So for us, it was, a very actually good moment, and we, the band developed a lot during that time, and of course this idea of having the online show, which was his idea, and as most of his what's happening?
I think that thing is not filming.
I don't know. So as most of his ideas, everyone thought that it was like a crazy idea, but as any crazy idea, it's worth trying. So that's exactly what we did, and it went just beyond our expectations.
Awesome. And then I know you also did like that before you did the next album. You also did this kind of how I discovered you guys, the Songs of Power kind of like compilation thing where remember seeing like some of you guys the ads. I know like it was for you, Jane. You were kind of like, "Hey kids, want a free CD?" And that's pretty much how I discovered you guys. And I was like, and I think I had like the wheel playing in the background. And since then, I pretty much checked out you guys out and I dug what I heard. And you pretty much got another fan.
Perfect. That's precisely how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, this free CD thingy, and we've done, and we will continue this. Like we've done, I don't know, hundreds of different videos for this, like funny videos, serious videos, but all of them serve just one purpose: to get attention, to deliver our thingy to to people, and maybe they will like it. And as we see, a lot of people do like it, so it works,
Yeah.
and that's why we don't plan to stop.
Little advertisement break. If anybody is watching this and wants a free CD,
Do you want me to CD?
Yeah.
you go to free-cd.imperial-age.com. You
And
just
you will get
pay
it.
the shipping and handling, and our London office ships it to you, wherever you are.
Nice. One of my favorite like I guess ads was like I think Jane was like promoting something. There was a guy in the background like taking his clothes off and stuff. I
Yeah,
think that was
that's
the I
my
saw that
ex.
earlier and I was like I got laughing my ass off at that.
That's John. He's my ex-assistant. He no longer works with us, but it was a spontaneous, creative uh, way of creative expression from him, I would say,
Improvisation.
which
Yeah.
definitely worked. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but then talking about like the latest album, New World, I love that album, and like I said, that was sort of like the album I discovered you guys on, and have and I've pretty much been a fan of y'all since. So, what was it like making that album?
That was made during COVID, mostly. Hence the title. Also, that album, it is like it has a lot of strange coincidences. Like I no longer remember all of them, but well, first of all, I think I anticipated the war with the song "The Wheel," because
It's
I was
like you
like, what?
predicted the future.
Exactly, not just with that song, but it was written. It was the last song written. It was written in November 2021, in one day, like when already all this war around Ukraine was brewing, and I was like going, where do I have these visions, from of corpses and fields and battlefield fields and all that. That was one thing. Second thing, there is a song called Distant Shores, which was written about the same time, which is about leaving your shore, going to distant shores and never coming back. And yeah, we always thought that we would be emigrating at some point, and we were actually thinking about the United States, but we never thought that A, it would happen so soon, and B, that we would not be able to come back. However, specifically that is in that song. Now, there are quite a few other things which I don't remember right now, but these are probably the two scariest ones. Uh, but yeah, that album was entirely written during COVID, mostly in 2020, 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, but then of course like you guys eventually like relocated to England and the UK. So, what was it about like the UK be like, let's move there?
It was actually another, well, that wasn't really mystical, but again, this was completely not planned because initially we had to move very quickly. So
And there is not much choice for Russian citizens where you can
yeah,
move, you know.
yeah, with a Russian passport, there's like this amount of countries where you can just go without a visa, and there was no time to get visas. So we just moved to Turkey because that was the only viable option at the time. But in Turkey, we were not the only ones, and they quickly started closing down all residency permissions for Russians because they wanted everybody out of the country. It was a huge wave of migration, and nobody likes huge waves of migration. So basically, it became apparent after like living there for half a year that the residency permit would not be prolonged. So we had to choose an alternative option. And again, we were thinking about the United States, and back at the time we were operating through an American company, an LLC, but we realized that we would not be able to do this in time because it was very complicated, very expensive, and the way the American visa system is organized, if you want to actually move and resettle, you have to apply for the EB1 visa, which is very difficult to get, and it's very expensive, and it's like there is a reason why, for example, Slaughter to Prevail don't have it. So the only other option is the O visa, but it doesn't lead to a green card. It doesn't lead to a passport. And so we were like understanding, okay, United States is not an option. And then just by pure chance, I learned that the UK actually has a similar program. I didn't know about it. I never knew about the UK Global Talent Visa, and I was just like, wait a minute, that's amazing. So I looked at it, okay, and I realized that we could fit, so we applied for it. And when we were on tour here in the UK, we just got the endorsement from Arts Council England, and we were extremely happy because we had to get out of Turkey in like 3 months. We didn't know where to go. We were actually considering to stay there illegally if needed be. So we were super happy. We launched a crowdfunding campaign. Our fans supported us immediately. We applied for the visas, and the rest is history. That was 3 years ago.
All right. And being as it has been now getting close to 4 years, 4 years since New World, have you all started working on the next Imperial Age album? Like, what's like the status with that?
We're working
In
like
progress.
it is in progress, and actually we're launching a crowdfunding campaign soon. So like probably in end of March. So yeah, I have quite a bit. I have a vault here with different riffs, with different songs, etc. But I should tell you that it's going to be very, very different. So as I
Yeah.
said, I don't even think that we are playing symphonic metal anymore. Maybe in a very broad definition.
Yeah. Yeah, and you pretty much led me into my next question. Like, will it be in the same vein as New World, or will you try something different that Imperial Age hasn't done before?
We are evolving. We always try something new.
Yeah, basically, with the New World, we also tried something new. So
Yeah, if you compare New World and Legacy of Atlantis,
yeah,
they're actually quite
with the New
different.
World, we wanted to make it, more light and more upbeat, like more
More,
dancey,
more power
catchy.
metal, let's put it that way.
Yeah, so now we also want to try something new to experiment and like what the we don't have any, um, we're not limited in anything here, and we want to just try whatever will come out. We will, we will listen to music critics and let them
No, we
put a
won't.
label on our sound, what they think we
Yeah,
sound like now.
like for example, how do you call power metal with breakdowns?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I
Power down.
Power
just
core? I don't know. That
like that
sounds
just
like power
I
ranger.
think there could be like a new like after this interview,
Power core.
new subgenre, power core.
Well, that gives you an idea. So what we want to do, we want to base the new sound basically on what we already have. But what we're doing right now, we're incorporating all sorts of different elements, especially modern elements, into this sound. So you can hear, if you heard Gnosis, now that's exploring one direction,
Yeah.
like the super fast, almost
Yeah, it's
deathcore
fucking
stuff.
heavy.
Yeah, so like not exactly that, but you can hear that like we are. One thing is certain, is going to be way heavier than everything before.
Nice. And
Like so we're talking eight-string down-tuned guitars, breakdowns, and stuff like
Another
that.
thing
Yeah,
is also certain is that some orchestra will stay,
yeah, of course.
definitely.
So it's not like we stop playing that and we start playing this. It's not that simple. Yeah. So it's maybe it's going to be a new genre. I don't know. Let's see.
nice. And to talk about more about the songwriting, like being as you two also sing, do you have to like put yourself in like a certain mind frame in order to come up with lyrics, or does the lyrics like come from like naturally and organically from like either of y'all? Because I know both of you have like different voices. So for each of you, like what's like your lyric writing process?
He's the main writer. I'm at the quality control, so I usually come.
And say shit.
Yeah, this is shit. You need to rewrite it. But I think that's very important,
Oh yeah. Some
job.
it's always very important and actually very valuable to have somebody who can always, bluntly and in your face can tell you that what you're doing is a piece of shit. Because most people will never say that. They
Yeah.
would be politely treading on eggshells and saying, "Well, maybe, blah, blah, blah." She's just gonna say,
Maybe there is a room
"That
for
is,
improvement
this
in this
is just
song.
horrible. Delete it." This is what I call clean monitoring, and it's very valuable.
Yeah, and of course, one of the signature parts of the Imperial Age sound is, of course, like the collaboration with you two singing, because there's a lot of bands with multiple vocalists, like Lacuna Coil, you'll Linkin Park, but other different styles of rock or metal. Like when it comes to like you two singing together, how do you make it so that way it's like equal in the song?
It's I think it's down to the songwriting. I think those things are distributed during the songwriting. So you just treat the two voices as two different instruments, which they all like. For this part, this is more appropriate. For this part, this is more appropriate.
But we also had some, I think we've had, like, on a few occasions, there were songs where uh, we weren't sure who should sing what part. And we just on during the rehearsal we tried, like, let's try you sing this and I sing that. So we listen what's coming out, and if we don't like, let's switch. Let's try together. Let's split it this way. So sometimes it's just you need to experiment. But mostly, yes, it's done on the songwriting
Yeah,
stage.
yeah. Do y'all ever get in the fights, be like, I'm singing this or I'm singing that?
No, I think we don't, because he knows that I can sing all his parts.
Yeah,
He cannot sing all my parts, or can you?
I probably can.
yeah.
I mean,
We will have this competition later.
Yeah, yeah, and in
would
terms
you
of
like the parts?
yeah, and in terms of also playing live, is there like a similar energy like playing live versus like recording, or are they like completely like separate?
Or completely different. At least
Completely
for
different.
me, it's completely different. During the recording, uh, at least I'm more concentrated on, technical details. Like, uh, basically, sometimes on the record, as I feel it, I need to, over to play it too much. Like, imagine you're an actor and in a theater and you're doing a makeup, so it should be, over the top, so you will never go out with this makeup, I don't know, on a date. But for the performance it should be like super, super bright for people to notice. So something kind of the same with the recording. So all the emotions, all the stuff you put in the microphone, it should be over the top in order to, sound appropriate on the record. But on the show, um, for me, I just shift into a different state of mind, where I'm not sure that I actually control a lot of things there, because when you shift into this state of mind, it goes as it goes. And sometimes you do something on stage and later you see the recording,
And
and
later you regret.
yeah, and you think like, oh, that was bad, I should not do that. So it's completely different with the live performances, because you have this, if it is a good performance, you have this connection with the audience and the energy starts flowing between you. So you give something to them, then you receive the answer, and so it goes on the during the recording. It's not like that at all.
Yeah. And also sort of like in the end to sort of wrap things up, what's next for Imperial Age? Because I know you've been slowly working on the next album. Is just anything else with the band you would also like to plug in terms of tours and stuff? And is there a chance you can please bring Imperial Age to the States for a tour? We'd love to have you.
We'd love that as well. Like that is quite difficult and quite expensive.
Yeah,
So
you guys are very complicated
so
to
we need
visit.
we need
Sorry.
no, no, no. It's actually it boils down to an agent in the States who can do it, and who wants to do it. So it's not really up to us because we can't arrange this ourselves. It has to be somebody stateside to actually organize and do it. It's definitely possible smaller bands are touring there all the time from Europe. So I don't know what the problem is. Sooner or later, it is going to happen. Hopefully sooner than later. Um, our plans at the moment are all focused on the new music. So it has been almost 4 years since New World. So we are we technically have a new band, a new lineup. Everything is in place that we have ever needed now. So for us right now, the most important thing is to focus on this music. This is why we actually canceled all touring this year. As you can see, we only have festivals. This is because we have so much work to do here in the studio, and we want this work done as soon as possible, and it takes ages by definition. So
Yeah, can't half-ass that shit.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But thank you guys for this conversation. It's so great to finally have Imperial Age on the show. It's just any final words you want to say to the viewers that are watching this to close us out?
Should we mention the free CD? I'm kidding. I just want to say thank you to you, Richard, and thanks to everybody who's watching it. Always huge thank you to all our fans who've been supporting us through all these years and continue doing so. We would have never been here without you guys.
Yeah, so keep listening good music.
Yeah.
We will make more.
Awesome. So everybody, Aor and Jane from Imperial Age, and we'll see you next time.